So anytime you talk about the NFC East, and honestly, just the NFC in general, you always got to talk about this team right here, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Last year finishing at 12-5, they were the second best team in the East. A lot of people thought they were the third or fourth best team in the NFC last year in general. They were one of the top teams there for quite a while, like last season. And then they kind of just stalled out against the Niners, I believe, last season in the playoffs. But this Dallas Cowboy team coming in here with a lot of expectations, a lot of high hopes here this season. And why would you not? I mean, look at this schedule. Look at this depth chart. I almost said schedule, but look at this depth chart. Dak Prescott coming back for another quarterback run here for Dallas. Dak should be decent. Always been decent. He's been an underrated quarterback, mostly as Dak Prescott has been his whole entire life. He's passable. He doesn't deserve the hate he gets. Let's be real. And he also is an elite quarterback, just in general. Tony Pollard taking over for full-time now for Ezekiel Elliott, as Ezekiel Elliott has left to New England. If Pollard can play the way that he should play, going to be decent in the running back position. I mean, this offensive line is freaking stacked, let's be honest. Dallas's offensive line has always been stacked, but, you know, you get my point. They add in, like, they already had CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, two good receivers. You bring in Brandon Cooks. Guy has never had, I believe, an under 1,000-yard season. That is an upgrade right there for the offense just alone. Jake Ferguson, I'm not, sure about. That's the one Gallup right there in this offense. I don't know about Jake Ferguson. But besides that, this team is looking decent on offense. This team's looking very deadly on offense. You have three elite receivers. I mean, well, okay. Two elite receivers and a decent receiver, Michael Gallup. I'm not going to give Michael Gallup the elite receiver yet. I don't think he's earned that yet. But he's at least a good enough receiver to, be a threat. You have to take Michael Gallup seriously, right? But Brandon Cooks is an elite receiver. The most underrated receiver also is Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks has been freaking, like, he's been in the background just chilling, getting his 1,000-yard season. No one, pays attention to him. This is the year he's going to get paid attention to because he's in Dallas. And then you have Tony Pollard, who, he's like, maybe he's decent, he's good. Not like, elite, but he's good. Maybe he'll show that he's elite this season. And you got Dak Prescott. I mean, this is a decent offense. Let's be real. On the defensive side of the ball, you have two of the best probably like top 5 pass rushers right now in the league in Micah Parsons. DeMarcus Lawrence is at least maybe top 20. That's on the sides on the line right there. That's going to be just freaking pressure galore on the quarterback. And then you have Mozzie Smith, who you drafted. You're not starting him yet, though, but I think Mozzie Smith is going to be a decent pickup for you guys. In the defensive tackle position, we'll see how he does if he actually gets, his name called upon. You have Van Der Esch, who I kind of not a fan of that much in the linebacker position. That's just me, though. Looks like you're not even having him play middle linebacker this year. That go into Damian Clark, apparently, according to your depth chart. But really, what you're going to talk about with this defense, when they talk about additions, you add Stephon Gilmore. Trayvon Diggs is already an elite cornerback. Stephon Diggs might be in the tail end of his career, but he's still elite enough to hold some of the best receivers. So you have elite number 8 over here on the right with Trayvon Diggs, and then you have elite on the left in Stephon Gilmore. That's going to be hard to pass against, just in general. Those two CBs right there is going to be problems for the quarterbacks just in general. Let's go to my predictions for the Cowboys season this year. Alright, so real quickly before I go to scheduling, I already recorded that part and recorded most of the stuff, but this is like post-editing. I have quotes here from Jeff K, by the way. Here's his actual link in the description. It's going to be in the description as well as on the screen right here. But here's his quotes. He says, ceiling, perfect season of 14-3, basement, if healthy, worst record 8-9, and realistic prediction of 11-6. Dak Prescott, top 10, lowest interception rate, turnovers, and not in his DNA. He will right the ship this year, and he is in MVP conversation. Dallas has the talent to win it all, but as a lifelong fan, I'll never believe it until I see it, as they have never shown me they can get over the hump in the playoffs. Also, look for Micah Parsons to have another Defensive Player of the Year type season, and mention how Stephon Gilmore trade flew under the radar, and I think people are underestimating how good the secondary is. If our inside linebacker play is up to par, this has a chance to be an all-time defense. That is quoted from Jeff K, by the way, on Kick. Alright, so I have the Dallas Cowboys going an average of 11-6 this season, a ceiling of 14-3, and if everything goes wrong, a floor of 6-11. Now, I made this graphic when I didn't know if Zach Martin would be actually playing this season. I didn't know if they'd actually re-sign him or if they'd like keep him on the back burner, and I thought that was going to be a massive blow to the Cowboys' offensive line, because if people can get into the actual interior of the offensive line, Dak might be in trouble, Pollard might be in trouble, but you guys signed him before I made, like after I made this graphic here. So the 6-11 might be a little shrewd, but I'm going to stay to it. I'm not going to like actually go around and fix this stuff up, because I have to fix everyone else's schedule up, because, you know, that's how it works here when I'm making these graphics. But we're going to run with this. So we have an average of 6-11, floor of 6, average of 11-6, floor of 6-11, and a ceiling of 14-3 for the Cowboys. I think the ceiling and average are more of like where the Cowboys are going to be this season. In fact, I think they're going to be higher towards the ceiling, but that's just my opinion. I have them losing week 1 to the Giants. Dallas never really wins on week 1, to be honest with you. They haven't won like probably the last 3 years. Week 2, they beat the Jets. They beat the Cardinals are easy. You beat the Cardinals. Beat the Patriots. Lose a close game to San Fran. I think San Fran's a really good team this year. I think they're going to be running the NFC this year, just to be honest with you. They lose to the Chargers in a close contest. Beat the Rams. Lose to the Eagles in Philly. Lose to the Giants again. Lose to the Panthers in what is an upset win for the Panthers. I think that's going to be the Bryce Young, like, you know, experiment game right there. Beat Washington, beat Seattle, beat the Eagles, beat Buffalo in a close contest, beat Miami, I believe that's in Miami, close contest, beat the Lions, and then they beat the Washington Commanders. And that's my prediction for the Cowboys schedule this season. Let's go to final thoughts. So my final thoughts on the Cowboys this season is they did every right move to compete with the Eagles this season. They brought in Brandon Cooks. They brought in Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore should help with defending against the Eagles' receiving core. I think this is I think this probably might be the best receiving core in the NFL. Like, they can legit contend with the Bengals this season with receiving core. I know T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and like Tyler Boyd. I don't know why his name just freaking left my thoughts, but that's yeah. I think Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb are... That's crazy to have on your team, ladies and gentlemen. You guys don't understand. CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks is both on like opposite sides, especially, is just completely overpowered for the Cowboys this season. That offense should be legit this season. If it's not, then I think it's time to go do some firings with the head coaching job. I don't really like Mike McCarthy as a head coach. I've said that before previous seasons. But if McCarthy messes this up, he needs to fucking go. He really needs to go. If this team cannot be a top 5 offense in the NFL this season with no injuries, get him the fuck out of here. He does not belong here. And I think Cowboy fans can agree on that. The defense is always solid, as is Dallas's defense. Michael Parsons been a freaking monster for the past few seasons. This Cowboy defense has been underrated, but this season I think Stephon Gilmore is going to add a little bit of more of a harder version of the Cowboys defense than we've seen in the previous seasons. I don't know how they're going to do in the playoffs when they make the playoffs, but we'll see when the time comes. But ladies and gentlemen, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of my content, and show up next for the New York Giants that we'll talk about next. So yeah, peace out, guys. Have fun. Take care. Peace.